Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is ColKoenig.
This is Ringru, low, low, low.
And folks, off to Shchedrin today. We're back in the monthly tournament coverage. Frank, what's going on, and who do we have, and what are they bringing?
On the left-hand side in the blue, we have Yabo playing 17th SS with a Maverick income. Right-hand side in red, we have ColKoenig, 42, playing 26th Guards Infantry, also with a Maverick income.
You know, looking at the breakouts here, I'm just going to put both over here on my side. We're seeing that it's a rather aggressive breakout over here from the 17th, especially in the middle. Up to the north, both guys very, very demure, kind of much more chill for the most part. And down to the south, looks like the Russians are trying to take the top of that hill. But in the middle, I know we always preach about this. How is this going to work? What do you think about Yabo's chances?
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting avenue of approach. You usually don't see it. He does have the, fast mechanized forces to do it. Nice thing with 17th, you do get those lovely recon cars. It's really just going to come down to the element of surprise, because if, a few decent tanks come their way, Yabo will be kind of buggered. And he's also completely opening the southern side to Koenig, who's going to get that hill easy peasy. So, and that's, a very important hill to capture.
Indeed. I was just watching, like you said, those 233s. These guys are surprisingly devastating early on. The 75 mils, certainly give you a good punch there, and especially against these sniper teams. So yeah, early sniper team going down. With the south being wide open, do you think this is going to be a Koenig push? Or
if he can realize that most of the forces are up north and in the middle, he can really exploit the southern area right now and just try to get, some territory to relieve some pressure off the middle.
And I guess that's one of those things, isn't it? I know you and I were talking a little bit about, heroic Greek myth over here before the cast started, but I kind of feel like this is a deliberate weakening just to kind of make that very, very big knockout punch early. What do you say to that?
Down south?
Well, down south from the Soviets are up the gut over here for Yabo.
Yeah, it's really going to come down who can to really exploit that avenue of approach. And of course, you do have the far northern town, and it's pretty even Stevens. Neither side really want to throw too much heat. Yeah, that one PTRS squad has been found out, and the Voig Deutsche will kind of blow them up with guns.
Indeed, they shall. And early PTRS squads getting dropped pretty consistently here. And I'm not saying that this is something that is, oh no, we have to kind of go in and wet our little big boy shorts about it. But PTRS squads are still rather good. I'm not really sure I'd be throwing them away so cavalierly.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you open up with them, especially against 17th. They are rather frail because a lot of the early armor will be those 233s, 231s, and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And those PTRSs make it rather short work of those armored cars.
Now, if you look down to the south real quick, I actually really like this. We have two FG-42s, and we have an IG-33 being brought on in, as well as a spotting aircraft. So what we're going to be seeing here is a rough defensive position stuck over here on the western lung. And while I don't know, Su-85 is still being a little bit frisky, nothing too crazy. While I don't know that it's going to be the perfect way to get through this, if we get that kind of off-map opportunity, that could be enough to kind of keep the Soviets at arm's length. At least long enough for the MG-42s to get into play.
Yeah, it seems like he's just trying to set up a defensive location in his lung area, and from his current offensive operations in the middle, he's managed to get half of the Soviet lungs. Maybe if he's completely control that hill, he can start putting pressure down south, cut it off, and try to envelop the southern side entirely. Oh, Yak 9 coming in.
And a donated Ju-87, I feel like. Oh no, Su-85 goes down! That wasn't in the script.
That was not. The BF-109 trying to get onto the Yak 9 here. But we've got a lot of bit of anti-air here. ZSG-15 going to be more than enough to ward off the BF-109.
There's an IS-1 Komprati, forgive me. Yeah, Yak 9 going down, but the IS-1 Komprati is on the field, taking out one of the 233s, and I would think that this is severely going to dampen any enthusiasm for this middle push.
Yeah, he is on. The weird thing about doing the middle push, there's not really too much middle one can push. You can get a lower farmstead where the Volksdeutsche are kind of fighting over right now. But apart from that, it's pretty hard to really push out any further. You can try to push up north to the town, but it seems like Yabo has just used that push to consolidate a foothold onto the enemy lung position, and he's just going to slowly and surely try to completely secure that area, which is really his best bet at this point.
Now, looking down here at the south, yes, we are going to see that some of the German lungs are going to be taken over here, but MG42s not really going to be able to force back those guards. I'm wondering if we see the Stog rotate around. Yep, he's going further between the lungs, trying to put some fire down that valley. Might be the only way he can really get a more committed defense. Oh my gosh, this IS-1's going to run afoul of the Volksdeutsche unless it gets... Okay.
Phew.
I was concerned about the IS-1 there for a moment. That could have been terrible.
Yeah, it's going to be a very pivotal unit here. If he can use that to zone this middle area effectively, maybe snipe at Stug, he can really dampen any reinforcements into that, into the Soviet lung, ColKoenig's lung. Yeah, it is, because really all the German reinforcements have to come in through the northern road here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, some of the lighter Soviet infantry down to the south is taking an awful lot of fire. Actually, AT gun in the middle goes down. And we're seeing a drips and drabs of more equipment. So it's a couple more Volksdeutsche, a couple more 233s. There's not a lot of those left. Oh no, never mind. He's got 10 of those. I thought he was in much dire straits than what he was.
Yeah, you get a lot of those armored cars early on, which is quite nice. And the 17th SS, you really want to try and use him, and use him he shall, as he's starting to bring tanks right down the middle here. But you see IS-1 in a lovely position, trying to snipe the 233s at long range, forcing them to move in deeper.
Certainly does seem to be the case. And the Buzier 76-2, so these are, again, the French-supplied guns going over here to the Soviets, getting a lot of utility. Often we kind of see one of two kinds of guns. Either they are the most killy thing in the world, or they get killed the quickest thing in the world. So, I mean, it's all of one or nothing, and it seems like we are going to get that more demonstrative, let's say, OB-25.
Oh, an IL-2, 37mm coming in, knocks out the star. Great pick-off here. And now if ColKoenig can actually move up his 45mm, which he finally's done, yep, all the armor in that central push has, well, perished.
And this BF-109 I don't think is going to make it out either. There's a ZSU there. There's the 37mm Palm that I saw before. No, I didn't. There's two ZSUs, excuse me. So, yeah, this is perhaps a dead BF-109? Huh. What a plucky guy.
Very plucky indeed. It feels like he shouldn't have survived yet, but he managed to, so good on him.
Exactly. Exactly. But we are approaching the end of first phase. Phase A coming to close here in the next 90 seconds. And I would argue, very, very clear benefit over here to ColKoenig.
Yeah, he's managed to repel that middle push. He's pretty much got his hill completely back under control. He's managed to capture the southern hill and secure it easily. And the town fight is actually in Yabo's favor, but it's a pretty even Stevens here. So ColKoenig, if he was to push, could easily get one or two, or maybe both of these flags.
Well, especially if all that's really there is a breakwaters of Volksdeutsche. I mean, that's not exactly the most durable of reinforcements or defenders, for that matter.
Yeah. So Koenig's in a fantastic position for Yabo. I think he's going to try and change things up a bit, maybe try to do a more heavy push up north, or try to retake the far southern hill.
Now, we are going to see that recon play go down. We do have Volksdeutsche taking some firepower from the 76-2. And the IG-33, I feel like it's just pounding the Starfniki out in the open. Those guys are not enjoying it, let me tell you.
No. No, good use of support guns really from both sides here.
Yes.
Using them quite effectively to just zone out infantry from support guns all the way down to machine guns as well. They come in quite useful.
Well, and one thing we haven't seen a ton of play in yet is committed tanks on both sides. Yes, the IS-1's gotten a couple of kills. The OT-34 is on the field, but the OT-34 doesn't really seem to be getting a lot of its, let's say, slated usage here with that Flammenwerfer or Soviet Flammenwerfer. Not getting a ton of action.
Yeah, mainly just been using more support guns and infantry to make the assault. And Koenig's also got a very nice little position on Yabo's hill, just on the southern tip here, enough to capture the flag. And really just capturing the flag is the only thing that matters in that case.
Of course that's the case, but he's still being aggressive, I would argue, with the Shemaviki and, well, the guard squad. Not really sure I'd be that aggressive. I think, like you said, I've got the flag. I don't need to go any further.
Yeah, we'll just barrage the hell out of that forest first before moving up. Of course, he probably does not know he has 2 SS Legionaries here. And also, definitely infantry you don't want to get close to.
Which is kind of a shame, because they have great personalities.
Mm-hmm. They want to share some drinks.
And now me saying that, and the fact that they're SS troops, I'd like to recant that last statement. But we are going to find out right now that the Rocks certainly want to, ignite a new friendship there as well. Unfortunately, like you said, the Legionary, they buy their own drinks.
Yeah. So the Rocks are going to be able to kill one of these guys at least, so not too terrible.
Yeah, but the other one's going to get them, not so much in the flank, but I would argue, I thought it was going to be a little bit more deadly there.
Yeah, and now we're also seeing Yabo actually invest a bit more into some artillery. He's got 105 mil out on the field, and ColKoenig also invests in some artillery as well, an SU-76. So we might start getting into the artillery phase of the match. I mean, around B phase, you do have the income to start investing in those realigned support units, and especially with both sides are pretty entrenched, you want to blow them up indirectly.
Actually, you know what I love? I love Koenig's constant movement of his anti-air. He knows that's what's keeping a lot of Yabo's power immediately away from his vehicles. So you see right now, look where the artillery positions are being hit for the Feldhowitzers, 105s. Both of them, were exactly where the ZSUs were, less than 45 seconds before. ZSUs, they fire, they chase away an aircraft, and they start moving.
Yeah.
Please.
Just a small little micro makes a huge difference.
Exactly. And that's what I really, really enjoy. And we're seeing that, well, mobility being used as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it also looks like ColKoenig not to be content with half of a lung, or at least the most important pieces of it. He's being very aggressive over here. He's going to take out that Pack 40. The Legionari are not going to be able to push back when they're outnumbered, 5 or 6 to 1.
Yeah, his Guardia troops aren't that great in CQC, but when you have this many, it doesn't really matter too much. So he is going to be able to get a very good foothold onto his hill and really just lead the charge.
Anyway, one more time. The 105s are now trying to engage the ZSU over here. He's going to move again, though, because it's taken forever for them to aim. So, very, very successful. Again, I've got to enjoy and call that out. That's a fantastic, fantastic play.
Yeah, and Yabo has a bloody Pack 43 out in the field here on the northern side, but it's not really in a position to provide much fire support. ColKoenig has managed to get most of his forces onto the opposing hill, and he's bringing in some 2-3 runs for a little counter-cavalry attack here. I don't know how well that will play out, because we even just have 1 KV-1E can easily blow them up.
That's true, but we also are going to... as I said, that BMW motorcycle could have been nice. It picked up that OT-34.
Should have unloaded a wee bit sooner. But here comes the 2-3 runs. Be really curious what he's going to do with him. I think for Yabo, it's going to come down to the artillery in this case. He does have the Neighbor Alpha 42, so he has some pretty big guns, but you just need to use them to blow up his infantry in the front line rather than trying to snipe these rather mobile anti-aircraft pieces.
Well, the 231s are not going to get a lot of play. I say that because the 45 mil is turn that cavalry charge into the charge of the light brigade. And, yep. Like I said. Honestly, ColKoenig is playing this perfectly.
Yep, he's using his fire support very effectively. He is going to get pushed off this central hill position, but he has a 16-8 point advantage. He's meant to capture both flags up north, and of course the southern flag is completely under the control of 0 bloodshed. So he's in a very good position.
True. I also wonder, though, what will the losses be like at the end of this? Because, yes, he's going to push back the Strelkovy. Yes, he's going to take out the T-34. But the T-34 over here is still scary, because he's not getting within the 100 meters necessary. That's very, very strange. Okay. Oh, no, Ju-87? Okay, the Ju-87 is on strafe patrol. Okay. All right.
And strafe it shall. But really, it survived. That's a decent amount of anti-aircraft fire.
You know, I'm not sure I could safely tell you that, but let's see. 1, 2, 3 ZSUs. And actually, up to the north, we are going to see what looks like a very slowly developing Soviet attack into that town. I think right now, Yabo is probably reeling a bit because he didn't quite mass his early forces enough to kind of defend against this kind of push.
Yeah, it's just a lot of Soviet troops here. Of course, Yabo's infantry is a bit better. I mean, those SS Legionaries are bloody fantastic for the price and are better in CQC. But it's just the amount of fire support which ColKoenig is bringing in. Once again, I mean, it's going to come down to good artillery play here from Yabo. And he still hasn't fired the naval runner for 42. I think he's just waiting for the perfect opportunity to use it. Oh. Now he's aiming. He's trying to use it for anti-aircraft work, which I get, but as we're seeing, it's not working. Koenig knows how to move.
It's just, and it's also not efficient too. Those naval buffers take forever and a day to reload.
Yeah.
Again, you call up the unit card over here, 2 rounds a minute. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. I don't think because if you're trying to counter battery, like more static anti-aircraft artillery, it should actually be a pretty good play, I'd say, because then it would open up for your regular anti-air. The ZSU actually didn't move, so he did get the kill, so what do we know in this case? But still, the front line is not looking entirely great here for Yabo, so he really needs to try to follow up with some air power now to make advantage of knocking out a bit of the anti-air power on Koenig's side.
And yeah, you're right, and that's fair. I think it's just, though, look how much in the way of supplies it costs him to get that thing to fire again. It's 1,000 supply in, and he's only got 2 HE shells in there. Yeah. It's just.
Yeah.
I love the naval warfare, you know I do.
Same.
I can't see the benefit of that firing one salvo for that kind of return on investment. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I just wish he had one artillery piece firing at his little cluster on the southern tip hill, because that would do such devastating damage to push the Soviets off, yeah, and then that would give him a flag, maybe 2 flags, so that he can get that one slap bang in the center and try to stop his -2 points bleed.
We are going to see one crazy play. Look at this. He's got 6 Stogs being moved up, and about just as many Volksdeutsche. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a grand throw of the dice over here from him.
Yeah, honestly, that Stug push could work. I mean, there are 2 ISU 152s, the SU-85, and the KV-1E. But the ISUs can get killed by the Stug. They're well-armored, but not yet well-armored, and are rather slow to fire as well. So this could be... Yeah, this could really make it or break it for Yabo. He's kind of at that point.
Unfortunately, I think he's also pretty much announced his intent by just shelling the entire side pretty consistently. So it's not to say that he shouldn't be trying to put some preparatory bombardment, but I just think he's kind of telegraphed himself by doing this.
Yeah. Here comes the Stugs, and he's got a whole company's worth of Volksdeutsche coming in to back him up. So he's managed to rally all the folks from Deutschland, wherever that is.
I actually kind of regret he didn't bring the 222 first.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the 222 has got the optics. You need to use that. 1 cruise killed.
Treating at long range, but the ISUs are managing to tank at that range. Even with their slow-firing guns, they're doing pretty decent.
Well, again, I mean, I feel like this push, yes, it's killed 2 tanks, but it's lost 2 already, and I think the attack is just, it's not a fast-moving attack, which I feel like the 17th is desperately needs to use.
Yeah, and these Stugs have really clumped up. I'm quite surprised there haven't been any sort of... Well, I say bomb and run doesn't have any bomb and aircraft. He only has the anti-tank IL-2s. But even just some artillery to stress them out.
Well, and just in case, there's that one... There's another recon plane coming on in. But we're down from 7 Stogs. We're back to 3.
Yeah, not a great trade. We're seeing a heavy anti-tank investment here from ColKoenig. His push hasn't managed to develop as fast as Yabo probably intended. And all his Volksdeutsche are just getting picked off out in the open because there's a whole heap of Soviet support equipment.
And there's only 1 Stog left. And I feel like, yeah, if one by one all of these Volksdeutsche just get, pounded.
Yeah, I mean, he did manage to knock out quite a bit of ColKoenig's forces, yeah, but ColKoenig still has a position, which is the only thing that matters.
True. And as of right now, too, that Naval Warfare 42 fired again. Last Stog goes down. Oh, and the 222 says, guys, don't worry, I'll spot him for you. I could use all the campfires that are along the road.
Wait, there's a battle going on?
Exactly. I thought we were roasting s'mores.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it over all the gunfire.
That was celebratory. Warfare 42 takes out one more ZSU, and Yabo, I think, that was the correct call there. Unfortunately, Yabo, I think, played a little bit too weak down the southern side. Had a very interesting idea to kind of mass his equipment. I just think it was too slow of an attack.
Yeah, I do like that opener which Yabo started with, going through the center. It's just a nice change of pace to see not just a plateau battle at long range down south at the start, but he didn't manage to fully... He didn't manage to meet like the timetable or whatever to fully capture that hill position. Because if he could have captured the enemy hill lung position with that initial push, put him in a very good position, and then, like I said, you could put pressure down south and try to envelop it from there. But ColKoenig managed to play it well, use his support equipment effectively, brought in the correct tanks to blow up all the light armor, and just treated effectively, really.
Absolutely. Now, the funny thing about this, too, is you go down to the kills, you know that charge of the Shug Brigade? There's Bolgarov and Andropov over here that between them, I think, killed every single one of those Stogs in the SPW. No, I'm sorry. 1 didn't get taken out, but 6 of those 7 Stogs, I think, went down courtesy of those guys right there. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Especially an OT-34. That's not exactly a Stug-full killing machine, but having high ground on the hill really makes a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, and OT is really just the Russian version of OG. So, the original tanker. And look at the opposite side again. Not a lot of really, really great kills. Janowski over here picking up the Su-85 and the IS-1 Kamarati. But overall, sincerely, well played to Colonel Koenig. Better next time over here to Yabo.
Indeed.
So, folks, I'm pretty sure that's all she wrote about this one. Of course, come back Thursday, more tournament coverage. Until then, I'm ColKoenig.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.